Your dog stared at you last night. Not the playful kind of stare, not the feed me kind, but a deep, locked-in, unblinking gaze that felt almost human. In that moment, something shifted, because what your dog was doing wasn't random. It was a message, and most owners never decode it in time. If you haven't joined our community yet, hit that button right now, because what we cover here will completely change how you see your dog forever. So let's get into it. Can dogs actually imprint on humans? And if yours has, what does it look like? It's something far deeper, far more primal, and once you understand the 7 signs, you'll never look at your dog the same way again. Stay with me, because sign number 4 is the one that surprises every single owner. Let's start with something that happens every single night in millions of homes, and yet almost nobody understands what it actually means. Not on the couch next to you, not at the foot of the bed as an afterthought. We're talking about your dog actively seeking you out, pressing their body against yours and closing their eyes only when you're within reach. This isn't about comfort seeking in the way we usually think about it. In the wild, canines sleep in packs, and the ones they sleep closest to are the ones they trust with their life. Sleep is the single most vulnerable state an animal can be in. Heart rate slows, awareness drops, and defenses go down completely. For a dog to willingly enter that state beside you means something enormous. You are their safety net, their anchor, and their chosen protector. But there's a second layer to this that most people overlook: your scent. Dogs have up to 300 million olfactory receptors, compared to our 6 million. And your unique scent is essentially the smell of home to them. When they sleep next to you, they're bathing in it all night. It regulates their nervous system. It tells their brain everything is okay. And then there's warmth. In survival terms, warmth equals life. By curling up against you, your dog isn't just being cute. They're making a deeply instinctual choice that says, this person is worth staying close to. So the next time your dog sneaks under the blanket at 2 in the morning, remember, they're not being needy. They're telling you you're their pack. Now, the second sign is one that genuinely shocked researchers when they first documented it, because it reveals just how deeply your dog is watching you every single day. Science has confirmed something dog owners have suspected for years. Dogs don't just live alongside us, they become us. Not in a metaphorical sense, but in a measurable, documented behavioral sense. Studies have shown that dogs adopt the emotional and behavioral patterns of their primary person over time. If you're naturally anxious, prone to worry, hypervigilance, or tension, your dog's cortisol levels will reflect that. If you're calm, steady, and optimistic, your dog becomes that. If you're the person who goes for a run at 6 in the morning, don't be surprised if your dog is pacing at 5:59. This goes beyond copying routine. Researchers have found that dogs can absorb emotional states through a combination of cues, your tone of voice, your posture, your micro-expressions, and even chemical signals your body releases under stress or excitement. They are running a constant background analysis of who you are and how you move through the world, and then recalibrating themselves accordingly. Think about that for a second. Your dog has essentially built an internal model of you. They know your rhythms, your moods, and your signals. And a dog that has imprinted on you doesn't just love you, they study you, they adapt to you, and they shape themselves around you. That's not loyalty, that's devotion at a biological level. Speaking of biology, sign 3 is going to make you look at your dog's behavior in a completely different way, especially if you've ever noticed that they listen to you differently than they listen to anyone else in the house. You say sit, they sit. Your partner says sit, nothing. Your friend says sit, they tilt their head and walk away. This isn't stubbornness, and it isn't coincidence. It's one of the clearest behavioral indicators of deep imprinting, and researchers who study canine social cognition have found the reason behind it fascinating. Dogs are remarkably good at reading human social hierarchies. They don't just see a group of humans and treat everyone equally. They observe, they assess, and they identify who leads, who follows, and who matters most in the pack. When your dog listens to you above everyone else, it's because they have placed you at the top of their internal social map. But here's what makes this sign different from simple obedience training. It's not just about learned commands. It's about the voice, the body language, and the emotional consistency you've shown them over time. Your dog has essentially memorized how you communicate, the subtle shift in your tone when you mean business, and the way your posture changes when you're giving a real instruction versus just talking. They've built a profile of you that no one else in their life has earned. This selective responsiveness is their way of declaring where their loyalty lives. And if you've noticed it in your own dog, that slight but unmistakable preference for your voice, know that it didn't happen by accident. It happened because you showed up for them consistently in a way that mattered. Now, sign 4, this is the one we promised you. And if you've ever walked in from work and found your dog doing this, you probably laughed it off. But what's really happening is extraordinary. The pile of clothes you left on the floor, your gym bag, or the hoodie you dropped on the chair, if your dog is imprinted on you, there's a very good chance they've claimed it. Not because your dog has questionable taste in furniture, but because of something deeply rooted in how they experience the world. To your dog, your scent is not just a smell, it's a full emotional experience. It communicates safety and your presence even when you're gone. And for a dog who has bonded deeply with you, the moments when you leave, even briefly, can trigger a low-level anxiety response. Your laundry is their solution. By lying in your clothes, your dog isn't being weird. They're self-medicating with the most powerful calming agent they have access to, you. Studies on canine separation anxiety have shown that items carrying an owner's scent can measurably reduce stress hormones in dogs while their owner is absent. There's also a territorial dimension here. Dogs communicate ownership through scent. When your dog lies in your laundry, they're not just absorbing your smell, they're layering theirs onto it. They are, in the most literal sense, mixing themselves with you, marking a shared identity. It's one of the most quietly profound things a dog can do, and most owners just throw the clothes in the wash. Don't stop watching now, because sign 5 is where things get genuinely emotional, and it involves something your dog does that most humans aren't even capable of. You haven't cried, and you haven't said anything. You walk through the front door exactly like you do every other day, but your dog is already at your side, leaning against your leg, looking up at you with an expression that can only be described as concern. How do they know? The answer is one of the most remarkable things about the canine-human bond, and it goes far beyond reading body language. Research published in scientific journals has confirmed that dogs can detect emotional shifts through a combination of visual, auditory, and olfactory information simultaneously. When you're stressed, your body releases different chemical compounds through your skin and breath. When you're sad, subtle shifts in your posture, the pace of your breathing, and even your facial muscle tension all change. These changes are so small that most humans would never register them, but your dog registers all of it. For a dog that has imprinted on you, this emotional reading becomes almost supernatural in its accuracy. They've spent so much time observing you at baseline, happy, relaxed, and at ease, that any deviation from that pattern immediately registers. They know you're normal, so they know when something is wrong. And what do they do with that knowledge? They come to you. They don't ask questions, they don't offer advice, and they don't tell you to cheer up. They simply show up and stay, bringing a toy, pressing their head into your lap, or resting beside you in silence. In a world where humans constantly struggle to be present for each other, your dog has been paying attention the entire time. Sign 6 is something your dog does dozens of times a day, and you've almost certainly noticed it. But the reason behind it will completely reframe how you think about your relationship. You're out on a walk, your dog runs ahead, nose to the ground, completely absorbed in a scent trail, and then stops, turns around, looks directly at you, makes eye contact for a brief moment, then goes back to whatever they were doing. 30 seconds later, same thing. This behavior, sometimes called checking in, is one of the most consistent signs of deep imprinting, and it's anchored in something ancient. Wild canines rely on their pack for environmental information. When one dog is unsure whether a situation is safe, they look to the most trusted member of the group for a cue. Your dog is doing exactly that, except you are the trusted member of the group. You are the pack. Every glance back at you is a question. Are we good? Is this safe? Are you still with me? And every time you respond, with a word, a nod, or a smile, you're reinforcing the answer. Yes, we're good. I'm here. There's also a conditioning element at work. Dogs who check in with their owners and receive positive responses, even just a moment of eye contact or a calm word, learn that this behavior keeps them connected to the one they love most, so it becomes a loop. It is a conversation that happens wordlessly dozens of times a day between you and an animal that has chosen you above everyone else. It's easy to take for granted, but when you understand what it means, it becomes one of the most moving things a dog can do. Now we've arrived at sign 7, and this is the one that started this entire video, the stare. But what's actually happening inside your dog and inside you when it occurs will genuinely change how you think about your bond. In the canine world, sustained eye contact is a power move. Between dogs who don't know each other, a prolonged stare is a challenge, a signal of dominance, and a precursor to conflict. Every dog knows this instinctively. It's hardwired. So when your dog holds your gaze calmly, softly, and without tension, they are consciously overriding one of their deepest instincts. They are choosing to be vulnerable with you, choosing to communicate affection, using a signal that their entire biology tells them to reserve for threats. That is not a small thing, and science has confirmed just how significant it is. Research published in the journal Science documented something remarkable. When dogs and their owners engage in prolonged mutual eye contact, both parties experience a measurable surge in oxytocin, the same neurochemical that floods the brain during mother-infant bonding. Your dog isn't just looking at you, they are chemically bonding with you in real time. Their brain is releasing the same compound that tells a new mother she would die for her child. Not every dog does this. Dogs who haven't imprinted or who are still building trust will look away, break contact, or avoid the gaze entirely. The sustained, soft, relaxed stare is reserved for the person their entire nervous system has decided is safe. If your dog does this to you, if they hold your eyes without flinching or looking away, you're not imagining the depth of what you feel in that moment. You're both feeling it simultaneously and neurochemically. The bond is real, measurable, and mutual. Now, one more thing before you go, and this one matters. Can a dog change who they've imprinted on? The honest answer is yes, it can shift, but not for the reasons most people assume. It's rarely about favoritism or fickle emotion. When a dog's primary attachment changes, it almost always comes down to time and presence. If the person a dog was most bonded to becomes less available due to long hours, travel, or life changes, and someone else steps in to fill that space consistently, the bond can begin to migrate. Quality matters too. A dog will deepen their attachment to whoever engages with them most authentically through training, play, physical affection, and shared routine. It's not just about who feeds them, though that matters. It's about who shows up for them fully on a regular basis. The good news is this. If you've watched this entire video, you're clearly someone who thinks deeply about your dog's inner world. That attentiveness and genuine curiosity about what your dog is experiencing is exactly what imprinting is built on. So look for the signs, the sleeping, the mirroring, the selective listening, the laundry pile, the emotional attunement, the check-ins, and that stare. Because if your dog is showing you even a handful of these behaviors, they haven't just chosen you as their owner. They've chosen you as their world. If this story changed the way you look at the loyal companion by your side, please subscribe and like the video. We are exploring the deep history and silent language of the bond between us. Let's protect that connection. Our next discovery into the heart of the pack will be revealed very soon.